I'm late to the party here, but I still want to talk about the whole Joe Rogan Spotify issue. It's an issue that's going to affect people going forward, and let's do a step by step on it. I'm going to give my take, sure, but I'm going to talk about the realities of the situation as well. Those realities really don't have anything to do with my opinion or anyone else's. And one of those realities is Joe Rogan and Spotify signed a huge contract. It was initially reported to be around $100 million, but reports last month said it's actually around the 200 million mark. And that's a lot of money. And assuming Joe Rogan didn't break his part of the contract, Spotify has to pay Joe that money whether they use his show or not. Nine-figure contracts are going to be complex, sure, but I'm confident that being misleading about a COVID vaccine wasn't considered when the contract was drafted. I would bet the contract was drafted before there was even a vaccine. I mean, $200 million contract isn't something one lawyer just punches out in an afternoon. So when Neil Young and other musicians pull their work from Spotify, I mean that isn't good for the company. And I don't have access to the numbers, but I'm guessing the practical business question of what is best for profit is sticking with Joe Rogan. So why is Joe Rogan so popular anyway? Let's go into that. And full disclosure, I don't listen to his podcast. I'm not against it or anything. It's just that my free time is limited, and I have to split it between my day job, my existing hobbies, and just working and getting better at producing my own content. I only say that to show I'm not white knighting for him or anything. I'm not invested in his work. But one of the things that gets so many people tuned in is his off-the-cuff approach to topics. And when you listen to that type of content, it sounds easy to do, but it definitely isn't. And that's why there aren't many people who get big doing that type of content. Joe's been in the entertainment field for decades, both as an actor and a stand-up comic. He's had the practice. And since there aren't a lot of quality content like that, he draws a larger crowd. In a crowded space, it's unique and different. But a lot of people argue, it's not about that type of stuff. It's about public harm, being dangerous to the public. Okay, that sounds good on paper, but again, that falls short. The people who get their information about medicine from Joe Rogan, someone who is pretty clear about not being a doctor, are not the type of people who are all of a sudden going to be seeking advice from actual doctors just because Joe Rogan isn't there. And maybe it's the lawyer in me, but we already have a forum for people who harm others through misinformation. Lawsuits. Okay, I'll just come out and say it. I'm against censorship, and the exceptions are rare. Really, the only time I think something needs to be shut down are calls to violence and legitimate threats of violence. Pragmatically, I feel this way because censoring ideas isn't all that effective. The main goal of censoring content is so it doesn't get exposure, right? Back in the day, that was easy, and it worked. Today, though, not so much. Let's use Joe Rogan as an example. Say Spotify does remove him. He can still go to any number of outlets. Spotify isn't the only game in town. Okay, how about if all Spotify's competitors blacklist him? He could simply broadcast on his own. It's not like it hasn't been done before, and done successfully. More importantly, though, removing an idea from public discourse doesn't remove the idea from people's minds. If a creator says something crazy, the best way to counteract that crazy belief is with a better belief. Taking Joe Rogan off Spotify because he says crazy things about the vaccine is not going to convince people to get the vaccine. That's not how things work. Here's a hypothetical. Walmart all of a sudden says grape jelly is bad, so they're not going to sell it anymore. Walmart says grape jelly has more calories than other jellies, and so you can't buy grape jelly from them. Well, that's fine. It's their store, so it's their decision. But they haven't really stopped people from buying grape jelly. Those people just have to go to any number of different places to buy it. It's still available, and it's easy to get. If the main reason to stop selling that jelly is simply principle, then okay. But if the main goal is to stop people from buying the grape jelly, then you failed. I know this is a silly example, but the point is still valid. It's hard, maybe even impossible, to remove an idea, a belief. Only a better idea can do that, and that can be frustrating, trust me, I know, because a lot of the times people just can't be convinced and they might not even want to listen to you. But even low odds are higher than zero. My name is Andrew. Thanks for tuning in.